Well, what an honor for us today to have a very special person with us today. We have Alan Terwilleger. He is the president of Chuck Colson Center for Christian Worldview. And Alan, thank you for the work that you do, and we together certainly miss your founder. No question about that.
Yeah, we sure do, Perry. In fact, it's been a year ago this past Sunday that he went on to be with the Lord. So.
Wow. Well, thank you for continuing on his work. Listen, I want to talk about the recipient of the 2013 William Wilberforce Award coming up. First of all, what is the award? And then we'll talk about this year's recipient.
Well, it's an award that was established in 1988 by our founder, Chuck Colson. And the Wilberforce Award is presented annually by the Chuck Colson Center for Christian Worldview. The idea behind it is that it recognizes courageous leaders who are making an impact on the social ills of today. And those that are showing perseverance and selflessness and combating injustice and making a positive change to the values and character of society. And many of your viewers probably would know who William Wilberforce was. Right. He was an 18th century British parliamentarian who possessed well-reasoned arguments and debates and writings that helped to end Britain's slave trade and as well reform the corroding values of England. Probably a lot of your viewers saw Amazing Grace, this film that was out a few years ago. It's a great representation of him. Well, the Wilberforce Award is presented both to encourage Christians to follow its recipient's example and to demonstrate to the secular world the benefits of Christian influence in society. And so each year, our board of directors get together, and there's a number of names submitted, and they deliberate and vote on that individual based on a certain set of criteria that we have. And this year we began looking at who really stepped up to take a strong stance in the faith of injustice. And one person was clearly head and shoulders above the crowd in our estimation. And so this year we're awarding His Eminence Cardinal Timothy Dolan, who's the Archbishop of New York and President of the United States Conference of Catholic Bishops. He'll receive the award this year in recognition for his outspoken advocacy for life, marriage, and religious freedom, and including his leadership in the movement to stand against the HHS Mandate that I'm sure you've talked about many times, and the new laws which require employers, including religious groups like ours and others, to provide insurance to employees that includes contraception, abortion-inducing drugs, and sterilization coverage, despite religious objectives. And so that's really a very important issue that Cardinal Dolan has really helped to rally not only the Catholic Church, but the broader church in America around.
You know, his outspoken views, and I think some that we have become very familiar with, when he gave invocations both at the Democratic Convention and the Republican Convention, he clearly drew some lines in the sand to what he stands for, and that catapulted him forward. And quite frankly, I think it woke up a lot of Protestants that we have a relationship here. We need to work together.
Yeah, we call that co-belligerency. We may not agree with every theological position that they have, but we certainly can believe in the big points. We trust Christ as our Savior, and we can go forward in that kind of an effort, arm in arm. The idea being that we're being watched by the secular world out there, and if the church can go at this collectively together in a positive way, it shows strength. We can keep our little differences and squabbles in the back rooms, hopefully.
He has been noted as perhaps America's Pope. At the same time, I think he was on the short list to become Pope, wasn't he?
Yeah, he was. And of course, we watched that closely as they went through the process of electing the most recent Pope. And of course, he was quite prominent on television and on the news over the past months, really doing a good job of representing the Catholic Church in the media.
If HHS continues to go down the road that they're doing and threatening the Catholic Church and other institutions of faith, at that point we will have to bind together to fight these things.
Yeah, absolutely. You know, the Manhattan Declaration, which was really something that Chuck Colson and Robbie George and Timothy George, whom you've also had on in the past month on your program, really targeted and addressed these issues of life and marriage and religious liberties as three fundamental components of our faith and of society. And so I think for many years, we as Christians likely have taken our religious liberties for granted. Mm-hmm. And now all of a sudden they're being attacked with HHS Mandate. Same-sex marriage is going to be coming in, it appears, and potentially that's going to be a huge issue with religious liberties as well, in that, you know, we're going to all be forced to have to hire and take care of the insurance and benefits and all that for the same-sex couples. So that all works against our conscience in terms of what we feel God would have us do.
Alan, what's ahead for the center? What are you guys doing? What's ahead for you?
The Colson Center for Christian Worldview is very much about trying to grow a movement of Christians who are committed to living out and defending the Christian worldview. And so we're very much engaged in that effort. We have our broadcasts that are on radio each day, over 1,400 outlets, the Breakpoint radio commentaries that are hosted by Eric Metaxas and John Stonestreet. Many of your viewers may know of Eric Metaxas, who wrote the New York Times bestseller on Dietrich Bonhoeffer. Mm-hmm. And we have a number of websites, colsoncenter.org being our primary one. But then secondly, we focus a lot on leadership development. And our Centurion program is a program where we train up leaders in Christian worldview thought and practice. To date, we will have about 850 of these commissioned centurions that are out around this country helping to lead efforts in their local communities. And then finally, we're looking to develop coalitions that would help to bring about collaboration with other like-minded Christian organizations and individuals that could help us advance this effort, this movement at the local basis. In fact, we focus our attention on a little paper that's been written that could be found at our website called What We Seek. And the idea is, how do we develop a kingdom vision for the communities where we live and help to plant that in our communities and make a difference? I think we all lamented over the fact that this last election, we lost in a big way. We spent lots of money, millions of dollars, and many of which were committed by Christians. And what did we get out of it? Nothing. And so the idea is, how do we now infiltrate into the communities and get this whole idea, like William Wilberforce had, of reforming the manners or helping to reestablish our culture and our society around a kingdom vision for our communities? It's going to take a long time. It took William Wilberforce 35 years to see the abolition of the slave trade. So we need to set up and hunker down and develop strategies that are much more longer term with this kingdom vision in place.
You know, with the overwhelming encroachment upon our faith and beliefs in this present culture, and in particular this present administration, do you see a swelling in the way of a pushback and maybe putting things back on track?
Well, we're hosting this week, prior to the Wilberforce weekend on our campus, about 40 different organizations that are coming together to talk about this very issue. There seems to be a move that a lot of organizations are thinking about. How do they help the local church in the communities and cities where they live to bring about this whole idea of a kingdom vision? And so we're bringing together all these folks to continue to talk on strategy, but more importantly, to talk about how we can serve the local church in this kind of practice, and see if maybe the church can get awakened once again to participate and be engaged in cultural activities. Chuck Colson used to say, the culture is very much driven by the cult, and the cult of our day has always been the church. And so when we see culture failing, could it be that the church has failed? And so we really need to think through, how does the church re-engage and, in a winsome way, affect all spheres of influence in the communities where we live, whether it's education, government, the arts, and the government, all areas, and have that influence that would help to really re-engage communities in a way that God would have planned them to look like and be.
Well, Alan, you're a delight. Thank you so much for the work you do there at the Chuck Colson Center for Christian Worldview. If people want to get in touch with your organization and support it, what do they do?
Simply, they can come to the colsoncenter.org, COLSONCENTER.org website, and there's ways in which to lead you through all of our various websites. We have websites that would help pastors and church leaders. We have the Breakpoint website, which is our daily commentary on the news and all of that. So that's the best way to connect with us, and there's email addresses there as well. Well,
again, thank you, and the best to you as the Cardinal steps up to receive your award. When's that going to take place?
It's going to happen this Saturday evening at the Renaissance Capitol View Hotel in Washington, D.C., and we're looking forward to a great gathering there that evening. And we're also going to be paying tribute to Chuck Colson after his 1 year of being gone, and trying to continue to live out the legacy and forge the legacy that he left with us. So it's going to be a great weekend.
I wish I could be there. Thank you. Thank you, Alan. Blessings to you. Keep up the good work, my friend.
Thank you, Perry. Bless you.